Welcome to another episode of Paragon's Favorite Stuff. In this show, I tell you about all of the things that I've found most useful in my 26 years of living aboard sailboats and voyaging all over the Atlantic. First, thank you for all of the great comments you made in our last video about the cool blue marine refrigeration system. In case you missed that one, then click on the link right here to get caught up. Today I'm going to go over a fantastic stovetop oven that we use on the boat all the time, the Omnia Oven. On our boat, we have a 3-burner propane stove with a built-in oven made by Force 10. We rarely use the oven part because we feel that it just uses way too much propane. Instead, we use this very handy little stovetop oven called the Omnia because it uses far less propane to bake the same dishes that we used to cook in the Force 10's oven. Today I'm going to show you how the Omnia Oven works. I'm going to tell you about some of the amazing dishes we've made with it over the past 4 years, and then we're going to use it to make some of the best cinnamon rolls. The Omnia is a portable oven without its own heat source. When you put it on top of a stove burner, it cooks the contents just like a regular oven, and it does a great job. We've used it for making so many different things, like breads, lasagna, baked chicken, baked potatoes, quiches, pies, and as you'll see today, the most delicious cinnamon rolls. There are 3 parts that work together. There's the stainless steel base that goes directly on top of the stove burner, the food container which goes on top of the base, and then there's the cover. When you turn on the burner, the space between the steel base and the food container fills with hot air, which heats the food from below. Hot air also rises through the hole in the center and then reflects against the lid, which heats the food from above. When we're using our regular oven, it has to heat this entire big space. Even if I'm only baking in a pan which is about the same size as the Omnia, it still has to heat all of that extra space. With the Omnia, it only has to heat inside the Omnia itself, and it can do most of our baking with just a low to medium flame setting on the burner. Mo really wanted to get an Omnia oven, so 4 years ago I got her one as a part of a Valentine's Day surprise. It went over great. I woke up early that day, and while Mo was still sleeping, I made these amazing cinnamon rolls in the Omnia. Mo woke up to the wonderful smell of freshly baked cinnamon rolls, and then came out and saw the Omnia on the stove. A hot homemade cinnamon roll and a cup of coffee was a great way to start that Valentine's Day. And making them has become a Valentine's Day tradition here on Paragon. I only make these once a year, but for this video, I'll make an exception. Let's get cooking. Here are all the ingredients we'll use to make our cinnamon rolls. We've got milk, an egg, powdered sugar, white sugar, brown sugar, all-purpose flour, cream cheese, salted butter, a pack of instant dry yeast, cinnamon, and vanilla extract. We'll also need a few other items like a rolling pin, some measuring cups, measuring spoons, a wooden spoon, a basting brush, and some dental floss. More on that later. It's important that the butter and the cream cheese are at room temperature, so make sure to take them out of the fridge at least an hour before you start. First, we're going to warm up 1 cup of milk. I always warm up the milk by pouring it in a little saucepan, turning the burner flame on low, and then just stirring for about 30 seconds until the milk is just a little warm to the touch, but definitely not hot. Add the milk, a tablespoon of instant yeast, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 large egg, 3 tablespoons of room temperature butter, and 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Now we'll mix this all up. You want a dough that won't stick to your hands. This dough is still a little too sticky. Keep adding flour and mixing it in until we get a dough that doesn't stick to your hands. Just a little bit more flour. Still just a little too sticky. You keep mixing in the flour until you get a dough that doesn't stick to your hands, kind of like this. Just going to lightly coat the inside of the bowl with some olive oil, and then turn the dough around in the bowl to get it completely covered with the oil. Then we'll cover the bowl with a towel. Now we'll wait for the dough to double in size, which should take about an hour. While we're waiting, let me tell you about our sponsor for this episode, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community that has thousands of classes on a huge variety of topics. If there's a particular skill that you want to learn, then you'll probably find a class on it at Skillshare. Most of the classes are under 60 minutes long. Every class has a discussion forum where you can converse with other members, and a project where you can submit your work for feedback. I just took an amazing class called Creating a Modern Cinematic Documentary with Soul by documentary filmmaker Dan Liu. It shows how to make a cinematic and story-driven documentary by bringing you through all the steps in the planning, filming, and editing phases. The presentation was easy to follow, and I got a lot of great takeaways that I'm really looking forward to trying out in our upcoming videos. I also wanted to mention that you can download Skillshare classes on iOS or Android devices and then watch them offline. I think that's great for cruisers for when they sail out of range of Wi-Fi. So you could be learning a new skill while hanging out in a remote anchorage. For a limited time, our viewers can sign up for a free 2-month trial of Skillshare Premium membership, which means that for 2 whole months, you can get unlimited access to every single class on Skillshare. After the 2-month trial, if you'd like to continue with Skillshare, then an annual premium membership costs less than $10 a month, which is well worth it in my opinion. What new skill would you like to learn? Click on the link in the video description and start your free trial today. The dough's been rising for about an hour, so before we check it, we're going to put together our filling ingredients. First, we'll mix 1 cup of brown sugar and then 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Then we'll melt half a cup of butter in a saucepan over low heat. As you can see, the dough's risen to twice the original size. Now we'll take the dough out and roll it on our cleaned countertop. You want to roll it to about maybe 12 inches by 24 inches. Next, we're going to brush our melted butter all over the top. We'll sprinkle our brown sugar on top. The next step is to roll it like this. And here's where the dental floss comes in. I learned this cool trick to slice the cinnamon rolls with a piece of dental floss. You just bring it underneath like this and then pull it together like that. You want to slice them about 1.5 inches thick. And then just move it under to the next one and slice it, and then move it to the next one and slice it. I'm gonna make only 7 cinnamon rolls, and I'm gonna wrap the rest in plastic wrap and put it in the freezer. The dough will last in the freezer for about 3 weeks. Next, I'm going to lightly oil the Omnia with olive oil. And then place the cinnamon rolls inside. About an inch of space in between each roll. Now we have to let them rise again. So we'll cover them with a towel, and in about an hour they'll be double in size. While the dough's rising, we'll make the cream cheese glaze. First, we'll mix together 4 ounces of room temperature cream cheese, a 1/4 cup of room temperature salted butter, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 cup of powdered sugar, and then we'll start mixing in the milk, a tablespoon at a time, until it all turns into a nice gooey glaze. It's been a little bit over an hour since we started rising the cinnamon rolls. Ta-da! As you can see, they've more than doubled in size, so now it's time to start baking. First, they recommend that you preheat the base plate for 3 minutes on a high flame. Now that the stainless steel base is preheated, we'll put the food container on top and then the cover. And then we'll turn the flame down to medium. It's been about half an hour since we started cooking the cinnamon rolls, and they are lightly browned. I am going to turn off the stove. And the last step is to drizzle the frosting glaze all over the cinnamon rolls. Oh boy. You can eat these hot out of the Omnia, or you can let them cool and store them in a container in the fridge for about a week. I hope you've enjoyed this little look at our Omnia oven. If you'd like more information about the Omnia, then check out the links that we've included in the video description. Do you have an Omnia on your boat? If so, then how's it work for you? And do you have any recipes you can share? Please let us know in the comments below. If you like this video, then please don't forget to click like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.